And it's almost as though the Israelis want us to see it and want us to hate them. It would be a very secret, right? Instead, they choose to do this in front of the world. And in fact, what's really interesting is that if you go online, you will see Israelis go around the world and causing trouble everywhere. They're going to start fights. They shout death to the Arabs on public buses in the Western world.
Israel isn't just committing genocide, it's sacrificing Gazan children. And not only that, Israel is showing it to the whole world so that everyone will hate it, all just to unite Israelis and bring about the end of the world. I get sent way more videos to debunk than I could ever come in a lifetime. So I need to decide what's worth responding to. I use a few criteria. How many views does the video have? Who's behind it? How big the channel is? And whether the arguments are actually worth engaging with. Because not every random piece of internet nonsense deserves a response. Our time is valuable. In this case, the video has lots of views, the channel is big, and the guy speaking is a professor. But the level of stupidity off the charts. So why bother? Because this professor is from a country I haven't mentioned yet, China. This professor basically parrots Chinese Communist Party propaganda. While in the West, professors often criticize their own countries, in dictatorships, the role of the academia is to pump out the regime's ideology. Unsurprisingly, in all of his videos, you won't find a single word of criticism of China or its government. Communist countries, Russia, China, Cuba, East Germany, North Korea, have traditionally sided with Arab states and against Israel. They share a lot in common with Muslim regimes. They are not democratic, they restrict freedom, and they hate the West. But in the last 2 years, China hasn't even bothered pretending to be neutral. It openly taken Hamas' side. On October 7th, 4 Chinese were murdered by Palestinians. China said nothing. Well, actually, they did say something. They condemned Israel. So why is that? Does China care about Palestinians, about Muslims? Of course not. Just look at how China treats its own Muslims, the Uyghurs. Forced labor camps, banning their language, erasing their culture. So why support Gazans? Not out of compassion, of course. It's because China identified Israel correctly as part of the West, and China's goal is to weaken the West by dividing it. What do I base this on? Aside from official Chinese statements and policies, on TikTok and YouTube. If you think TikTok is just for kids posting silly challenges, you're probably old. TikTok is where young people get their news. And what news do they get? The news Beijing wants them to see. Don't believe me? Here are 5 tips on how to fail on TikTok. Criticize the Chinese government. Talk about Tibet, Taiwan, Hong Kong, or yes, Israel. None of this will get you promoted. There are already multiple studies on Chinese bias. I will drop links below. China doesn't need to bomb America. It can just tear society apart from within. Meanwhile, TikTok in China is an educational platform. You won't find Chinese videos about the regime killing more Chinese than anyone else in the last century, or about minority rights in China. Ironically, the world spends its energy attacking free countries, Israel, the US, instead of actual dictatorships like China or Arab countries. But back to the professor. He's got endless theories about the West, but none against the Chinese Communist Party. And in this video, he goes after Israel. Let's start with the beginning.
Today, we are going to discuss some extremely controversial topics. And because this is going to go on YouTube, there are certain words I cannot say. So just to warn you, I will write down these words, but I will not say them, because if I do say them, then I will get censored on YouTube. What is happening? The word that is happening, the word that we use for what is happening in Gaza is this word. You are not allowed to say this word on YouTube.
I love this intro. We are talking about something so controversial you can't even say it on YouTube. The forbidden word, genocide. Half the internet accuse Israel of genocide. I love the claim that you can't criticize Israel. Really, there is no country more criticized than Israel. Compare how many anti-Israel videos there are versus videos criticizing the world's biggest communist dictatorship, China. At one point, he actually says something correct.
A lot of speculation and theorizing in this class. So do not take this as gospel. Do not believe this is the truth. The entire point of this class is to help you develop the theories and the ideas to better understand the world. These are tools. Okay, this is not truth. These are tools. All right.
That's the only 20 seconds in the whole video where he's right. He admits nothing he says is true, just speculation. Well, a tool that isn't based on truth is useless.
And why is it today the Israelis do it in Gaza? And remember, okay, what the Israelis are doing is quite horrific because it is really this sort of sacrifice. Why? Because 47%, almost half of the population of Gaza is under 18 years old. So the majority of people who are getting killed are in fact children. What is most striking or blatant about what's happening in Gaza is that we can all see it for ourselves. And it's almost as though the Israelis want us to see it and want us to hate them.
So his claim is Israel isn't just committing genocide, it's sacrificing children, and it wants the whole world to see it and hate it. The universe and human stupidity are infinite, said my friend Albert Einstein. If Israel really wanted to kill children in Gaza, it could do it easily. Just last week, Hamas hijacked baby supplies that Israel sent into Gaza. Think how insane that is. No other country in the world sends aid to the very population it's at war with, only for the enemy to steal it. But the media barely reports it because it would make Israel look good and Hamas look bad. And accusing Jews of murdering babies, that's literally the oldest blood libel. I don't know how familiar this Chinese professor is with Western culture, but the nation that banned child sacrifice is the Jewish people. The binding of Isaac, the foundational Jewish and Christian story, introduced the idea that sacrificing children is evil. If you want to dive into this fascinating subject, I made a whole video about sacrifices in Jerusalem. Hell, child sacrifice, the temple, and even Jesus' self-sacrifice. Link below, it's one of my best videos. As for his claim that Israel wants to be hated, yeah, clearly an expert in Jewish history. Hatred has always worked out so well for us.
For example, you could just poison their water. Or you could poison the air so that everyone in Gaza gets a fast cancer, right? We have the technology to do this. So Israel could do it this secretly and no one would talk about it. And in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, the population of Gaza would all be gone. It would be a very secret, right? Instead, they choose to do this in front of the world. And my argument to you is that this is intentional. They want the world to hate them. Because by doing this, they create the ultimate taboo, right? We find this disgusting and contemptuous, so the entire world will unite against Israel. But guess what? That's what their religion wants. In the extreme form of Jewish eschatology or their religion, they believe that at the end of the world, Israel will fight the entire world and God will help Israel triumph in the end.
So Israel wants the world to hate it because that's what Judaism wants. It brings the battle of the end times. Okay, yes, there is a belief that at the end of days there will be a great war between good and evil, and Israel will triumph. But guess what? Nearly every religion and every cult has the exact same idea. And another detail that Professor forgot, this war was started by Hamas. They launched it by butchering children and proudly filming it.
And if you think about it, the entire idea of this ritual sacrifice is to unite the Israeli population. And what's extremely disturbing and horrifying about it is that this works.
Sure, Israelis are all united behind Benjamin Netanyahu, except the majority of Israelis oppose Netanyahu. Where do these professors even dig up this nonsense?
And in fact, what's really interesting is that if you go online, you will see Israelis go around the world and causing trouble everywhere. They're going to start fights. They shout death to the Arabs on public buses in the Western world. It's intentional. They want to unite themselves by dividing the world, by angering the world. Okay? Does that make sense?
Israel is going around the world causing trouble. I just made videos about Europe and the US. Go check the contributions Jews and Israelis bring to every community they live in. Who's actually rioting in France, attacking girls in England, committing terror attack in Germany and Wisconsin, filling the prisons? Hint, not Israelis or Jews, but the people from the religion of Hamas. The professor ends with, does this make sense?
Does that make sense?
Answer, no and yes. No, there is zero logic in this video, no evidence, no rational thinking. And yes, because it perfectly reflects the Chinese Communist Party line. And for a Chinese professor who doesn't want himself or his family sent to a re-education camp, it makes sense to attack Israel like the party wants. Friends, I promise, the next debunking video will be on a slightly higher intellectual level, with at least smarter arguments. Thank you to all my supporters. You keep me going. See you in the next one. Yalla bye.